All right. Okay, we are live here today. I'm Tanya Smith, for those of you who don't know me for some reason. And today I'm so excited to talk with Melissa, and she is the founder of Every Day Spokane, which is a blog and a Facebook group and just kind of a community all about our wonderful city, Spokane. And then she's recently co-founded a podcast called Trending Spokane, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, and it's in kind of the similar vein, right? You're just kind of chatting with people in the community about what's happening and food and entertainment and business, all of that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, news, entertainment, food. Basically what you said is exactly what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. And I recently got to photograph her and Aaron, the other founder of the podcast, for their podcast cover art, which is super fun. We had a really good time, even though it was freezing cold outside.
Really cool. Yeah. But you did an amazing job of making us not feel cold.
Yeah, you were troopers. You made it work. But anyway, so Melissa is an expert on SEO, which is search engine optimization, in case you don't know. And that's what helps you get found when someone's searching for you on the internet. So it's super important for small businesses. So she's going to show us a little bit more about that. But first, if you guys are watching, just leave a comment so we know you're here. Love to know where you're listening from. And if you have any questions, just type them in the comments and we'll bring them up for Melissa to answer. So normally I have interview questions, but for this one, I think I'll just let you take the reins and show us what you want to show us. And then I'll ask questions from there if I have questions. So Go ahead and take it over.
Awesome. That sounds great. Yeah. Thank you so much for that introduction. I have, if you don't know, everydayspokane.com is our website. It initially started as people who are moving here, learning how to register and the cost of living and what it's like, to move here. But I went to school at Gonzaga, but it was over a decade ago now. And so when I was creating the website, I was like, I have a lot of the questions, and Spokane has changed radically since I lived here last.
Yeah.
So I wanted to update it and just make it very easy for people to understand. And then now that we've been living here for a few years, it's transitioned into more of, we're ranking for things like best local easy hikes, best coffee shops, day trips to Coeur d'Alene, those kind of things. And so it's more about what it's like to live here. And then so the reason that we're all talking about SEO today is that my day job is working in the tech and economy sectors. I'm a freelance editor and writer. And so for the past couple years, I've been working with
I didn't know that. So
so that's awesome. My expertise. It's not just that I run Every Day Spokane, but it's actually that I've taken what I've learned working from clients who are getting tens of thousands of views every month and applying that to my website and also local businesses here.
Cool. I love it. Awesome.
So that way, if anyone's like, well, why are we here? So why is she here?
Yeah, in fact, I was going to ask you that. How do you help small businesses? Obviously with their SEO, but
And so what I've learned working with in that sector and in those spheres is how to rank. And so I started doing it for my own website first, just to see if the travel and lifestyle space, if it would work, and it did. And then I've also worked mainly only through word of mouth right now with a couple gift basket companies and food, in the food space. I've helped them rank, and so it works. SEO works.
Cool.
So let me share my screen and kind of show you all what we're doing here.
So I think you have to click on that. Maybe I have to do it. Let me see. Oh, here we go.
There we go. And so we'll just do a couple of things. I just wanted to kind of set the groundwork of what everything is. So what SEO, you already said it's search engine optimization, which is great. And then what I say is it helps you get your business found, basically.
Right.
And then the other thing that I love to explain to people is that when it's done right, it's consistent free advertising. So one of the things that I use as an example is I wrote an article about becoming a resident of Washington State in 2018, and it's still ranking on the first page of Google years later. I wrote it myself. You can hire people to do this for you, but I wrote it myself using what I know. And years later, it's still on the first page. It's been updated a few times, but not a lot changes when you're registering to vote or whatever. And so it's still here years later. And so that's why I like to say when it's done right, it's an upfront investment that pays dividends in the future. And as small business owners, I'm sure we all, we want to spend money on our business, but we want to spend it effectively.
Right.
And so that's why I really love search engine optimization over even social media, even though we all have social media pages. Yeah. It's kind of a necessity nowadays, but I feel like social media is more ephemeral versus search engine optimization on a website is long lasting.
Right.
So before we get started, you do need a website. So if anyone has questions about that, I'd love to see if anyone doesn't have a website or if they're working with a certain type of website builder. If people want to share those in the comments, I can talk about that too. But in case that wasn't clear, you do need a website. Okay, and then SEO, search engine optimization. SEM is another term we may use. That's search engine marketing. And so that's the type of things that you write in order to be found for whatever it is that your product or your business, anything like that. And then keywords, we'll talk about soon. Keywords are words or phrases that define your content and your business. So, for example, brand photography is something that you do, Tanya. And so that's something that you want to target, because when people are searching for that, then they'll find you looking for that keyword. Okay, someone's working on building a website.
Yeah, I feel like websites are the never-ending project of my life, at least. I finally get it done, and then I'm like, wait a minute, now I got to change something because I'm adding a new service or something. I don't know. Anyway, they're like living, breathing things, right? It's never done.
They are. Yeah, I mean, there's certain pages you can set up, and you maybe change them annually because your prices change or something else in your business changes. But other than that, once it's set up, you can almost kind of set it and forget it to a degree.
Yeah.
So, and then these are more just kind of facts about why it's important to be on the first page of Google. The first result in Google search engine gets way more clicks than the last result on the first page of Google, which is really insane to say, because when you rank on the first page of Google, obviously that's very exciting. There's only, 8 to 10 spots depending on ads and everything in there. So it's really exciting to be on the first page of Google, but the first organic result is 10 times more likely to receive a click than the number 10 spot. So it's really important to not only get on the first page of Google, but to be one of the top 3 spots. And then this shows you.
Right? Humans are lazy. We just pick the first one.
Yeah. And some people, might read and say, oh, okay, that first one's not for me. I'm going to click the second one. But this kind of shows you where it starts to decline. So that first one is clicked the most clearly, and then the second and the third are definitely nothing to sniff at. But if you put this in terms of revenue, 31% more likely to be clicked on than the other ones. And then, from there you can kind of extrapolate to how that would affect your business and how many sales you can make. So how to get on the first page. So really one of the biggest takeaways I hope that everyone gets from talking about it today, SEO today, is that you want to understand who your audience is first. Obviously you have your business, but what are people searching for? What are they looking for? What kind of words are they using to search and find you? So really think like your customer. So we all have terms like SEO, and I'm sure there's photography terms that I don't even know that that you don't necessarily want to lead with on your website, because someone like me who's searching maybe for a photographer for, engagements. I'm married already, but let's say I was searching for engagement photography. I would type in engagement photography in Spokane. I wouldn't type in, I don't know, something like super far lenses or, anything very specific. So think like your audience and think like your first customer. So now we're going to do an SEO audit of Tanya's site. And so, there's a couple things going on here. So I'll talk about the blog page that you have. You have blog articles, which are great, blog posts. And then we'll also talk about your homepage. And that's the third bullet point that talks about how your homepage and your blog posts make you look like an expert and get people to know, like, and trust you.
Right.
So we've heard that before about people know, liking, and trusting you. So we're going to start here. So I wasn't sure if this was going to slow down anything, so I scrolled past it. But this is your homepage, and you have this really wonderful description of what you do. It's really a video of what you do, and so it shows people and it tells people what you do. You do storytelling photos that sell for people's brands, and then you talk about work story brand photography. So I would like to ask you, when you created this very first website page, what were you trying to get across? What is it that your business does that you want people to find you for?
Yeah, so I definitely wanted them to know I specifically do photography for businesses and brands. There's no weddings on here, no babies, no high school seniors. It's just photography for your business to help you market and sell yourself. That's what I wanted them to know.
Perfect. And that's what you led with too. You said,
right.
Give us facts about the average consumer sees 5,000 advertising images per day. How does your brand stand out? So here you are talking about, you're an expert. You know this fact, you've explained it, and then you explain why to use professional photography, making the business look more professional, ditching the DIY photos. So someone like me is thinking, okay, I have this business that I have products in a business and I would like to take professional photos. Right now, the photos I'm getting are grainy or blurry, or they're just not coming out very well. So I'm searching brand photography in Spokane. So when I search for that, you're on the first page of Google. And so what I'm reading through now is saying, yes, she knows exactly what I need. She knows that I need to get rid of this and that I need a corporate or personal brand image that looks legit. And so then you tell us more about who you are and what you do, so what brand photography sessions do, and then more ideas of how to use them, and then how to contact you, which is great. And you have where you're located too. So I'm in Spokane, so I search brand photography in Spokane, but someone who searched Coeur d'Alene or Idaho may also find you too on the first page of Google. So then you have your services, so it explains what you do, the corporate branding, you have corporate headshots, video production, and then more information about you and your work. And then down here, you have testimonials. So what we're doing right now is going through what it is you do and how that's answering questions for someone like me who is, for example, looking for brand photography. So I'm seeing what you offer. I understand that you're an expert in what you do. You know a lot about it. You have testimonials. You have a video talking about another testimonial that you have from this company, and then easy ways to get in touch with you, which is great. And then your blog down here, which we'll get to in a second, and more about you. So one of the things that I looked at when I was looking at brand photography in Spokane, specifically trying to see how we could improve this and talk about the good things that you're doing, because you're on the first page of Google, is that you're very clear about what you do. There's not a lot of fluff on this. There's not any fluff on this page about anything else. You're not talking about weddings. You don't even say, we can do find F. You don't even say wedding, which is great. So you're not even saying this is what I don't do. You're saying this is what I do, and this is how I can help you be more professional with your brand. And so the next thing I checked out was how many times you said brand photography. And I think it came up 4 times it came up, which is great. I think the only thing I would do here is maybe mention it 1 or 2 more times just to really drive it home, because we don't want to put it in off that, not in an organic way. Right. And so the goal here is to not just say brand photography. It's more to talk about what brand photography is, why it's important, things like that. So you already do a really good job. And then the only other thing I noticed was maybe I talk a little bit more about the specific areas that you serve. I noticed that's one thing that you could incorporate more, especially in those areas, to rank a little bit higher for that. And so that's not something that everyone has to do. If you can, like, for example, anyone that's watching this that ships products, you don't need to say that you're in Spokane, other than to say maybe you're a Spokane-based business. But if you ship products, it's not necessary. And any photographers that travel even farther, if they go to California or Arizona, they could consider adding that. But for you, you do Spokane, Coeur d'Alene. So you could include that a little more to be found. But other than that, you have an extremely good website page. So for anyone that's watching right now, you don't need to have a lot of pages about your business, whatever it is, but you need to have a really good introductory page. So what I'm saying is basically not copy Tanya, but she does a really, really great job of explaining why it's important, what she does, testimonials, what she offers, and then how to get in touch with her, which I loved. You can continue with this blog section, but you really don't need to, as long as you optimize your first page to be exactly what you offer and what your customers are looking for.
So the homepage is like the most important page, right? As far as like getting found on Google.
Yes, more than any other page. That's what Google starts to scan through first when it goes to ranking what you are, when it goes to figuring out what you are. So when you create a brand new website, your first page is what is the very first thing Google's going to find. They're going to scan it with their Google tech, and they're going to say, okay, well, she's talking about photography. So she's, a photographer. Oh, she's talking about brand photography. Oh, she's talking about Spokane.
Yeah.
And so they start ranking you. They start putting you in a rank according to what you say, what you do, the clicks it gets. The other thing is that someone like me, let's say, who's searching for brand photography, I find your website, you're on the first page of Google. I click through a couple because, I want to look at a couple different websites. I stay on your page longer because you have a lot of good information.
Right.
And as a business owner who's looking for product photography, I would say, oh, okay, she has corporate branding. Okay, is that what I need, or do I need personal? And so another thing that Google looks favorably upon is how much time they spend on page. So if I went to your website and I realized, oh, I'm looking for wedding photography, I'd bounce right out of that. If I had searched for wedding photography and for some reason you came up and I left that right away, Google would stop ranking you for that because they'd say, okay, clearly they're not getting what they're looking for with this website for wedding photography. But if they're staying on your page, Google will recognize, oh, okay, they searched for product photography. They stayed on Tanya's page for quite a while, clicked on something, like even better, we're going to rank her higher for product photography in Spokane. So just if anyone has any questions, wants to jump in, feel free to ask them. But if they don't, I'm going to talk about the next I think it's important to me. If you don't want to have a blog, so Tanya has a blog, and we're going to talk about a blog post and more ways to rank with blog posts. If you absolutely don't want to have more pages for your website, let's say you're a restaurant and you feel like you need, like the main page is the website of where you are and your contact information, where you're located and all that, and maybe a click page to go to your menu. That's completely fine. You do not need to have a blog. You don't need to do anything more. You just need to make sure that your website is optimized so that if you specialize in, let's say, like breweries or cideries, that it's very clear where you are, what kind of cidery you are. And so as we move into talking about blog posts, I don't want anyone to think, oh my gosh, this is just like another part of business management that's time consuming and I don't have the time or the money to invest in this. You don't have to. It's just making sure that you have a website, one page at least. All right. So I don't see any questions yet. So we're going to move on to
I haven't seen anyone. Any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Yeah. I don't think so. That was super clear. Like I told you before we started, I have a basic knowledge of SEO. So that's probably one reason. Like I spent a ton of time on my website. So for people who, don't have that knowledge, it might be helpful for you to reach out to somebody to get help with that copy, like how to make sure you're writing in a way that's going to attract the right people, right?
Yeah. And so obviously you should, make sure that what you're writing makes sense for your audience. So you talked about why it's important and then everything about what brand photography is. So like I said, you don't want to just say brand photography 8 times. That's good. You need to have coherent sentences and talk about, but it's your business. So, I mean, most of the time when I work with companies, it's very easy for them to talk about what they do. If anything, they get too into the weeds. So that's why I think you do a great job, which is why you're on the first page of Google for brand photography in Spokane, because you do an excellent job of explaining what you do cleanly in a way that everyone can understand.
Right. Yeah. So Tessa asked, I was going to ask how to rank higher with a blog post, so I'll just keep listening. So
awesome. Yay. And this is my specialty. So as a freelance editor and freelance writer, this is what I love. So while I say you don't need to have blog posts, I do, and you do. And I think they're really helpful to just push your website up higher. So what we're going to talk about here is I clicked on what to wear for your branding photo shoot because it was one of your most recent blog articles, blog posts. They're kind of interchangeable. So when I say post or article, I'm really talking about the same thing. And so what I want to do first is go through this and talk about what you're doing excellent, and then things that you could do to do better to rank higher for this. And so the goal of blog posts, what I want to get across about blog posts is that it's a way for you to show your expertise and to show people what you know and why they should buy from you or why they should, hire you for whatever it is. It's an opportunity for you to really showcase who you are, what you do, what you know, and why you're the best fit for them. And so when you're writing a blog post, I really want you to focus on answering people's questions. And this is why a lot of people might think, oh, I don't really know what to write about, or I don't know how to get started. The thing you want to first start with is, what are people searching for that I do? And how can I make that very easy to understand for people? And then the next thing you'll do is think about ranking it. So you don't want to start with, okay, well, I just want to put anything up and I want it to get ranking but it doesn't have anything to do with your business, or it doesn't really answer people's questions. And so think like your audience, think like your first customer. Okay, so we're doing what to wear for your branding photo shoot. So first, I love that you don't put the date or something like /blog. So a lot of people, so in the URL here, so Tanya has work study photography / what to wear for your branding photo shoot. Perfect. I mean, I can't say more about that. The way that you did your URL structure is gorgeous.
Awesome.
Everyone should just copy that. There's really not much more to say about that.
I think in WordPress, it just took my headline and used that for the URL. So, but you can change the URL to not be the headline, right? So, but I just kind of went with the headline.
And so that's what I love about WordPress. I'm a little WordPress biased too. I'm glad you have WordPress. I think there are other website builders that may put something like /blog, or I know WordPress, at least in the past, I don't know if it still does this, but it might give you an option to have the date in your header, in your URL, and we don't want that. If you do that, if you have that now, you should change it, but you should probably hire someone to change it, because if you have a lot of links and you change them all of a sudden, they can all become broken. It's not fun to do that, and that hurts your ranking too. And it's not great. Doing this, and then I think that's usually all I've seen. I've only seen people put like blog or put the date, and so the reason you don't want to do that, it's more for Google to look through. It doesn't look as clean, and then the date. A lot of people, as I'm sure you have done and I have done, I know maybe a lot of people watching this do too, is that when they see the date and it says 2018, we all kind of think, oh, this is outdated. Even if you've updated it to say, 2020, you have 2021 on here. There's nothing wrong with having the date too. Here, having the date here is fine, because if you go ahead and update this in a year from now, you can republish this with a newer date, and the newer date will show up. So it'll never look out of date. So what I'd be looking for here is, I love that you lead with video too. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. The only other suggestion I'd have for this is leading with an image, but you already have a video on this, so lead with a video first. The only thing I would check here probably is to see if it's optimized for Google. So one thing that people can search is what to wear for my branding photography. Your video may come up if it's been optimized. That might be more on the YouTube side. That would be something else to look into.
Right. Yeah, I just took the text from this blog and stuck it in the YouTube description. So I don't know. I haven't delved into optimizing on YouTube yet. That's kind of like, I've just been posting my videos there as a place to host it. But I think it wouldn't hurt, right, to have the keywords over there on the YouTube too.
No. Absolutely. Yeah. And YouTube SEO is a little bit different. It also has hashtags, and there are more keywords that you can put in a specific area of YouTube. So that's more like keyword stuffing, but YouTube wants you to do that. So that's we don't want to do that here. We can talk about YouTube maybe in a month or two. But I know a lot about that, but it's not.
Maybe I'll have you come on and do another one on that one.
There we go. Yeah, we can go through some YouTube videos. Anyway, having this is great because YouTube sees that you have a video, and in a lot of cases, YouTube kind of is able to read that because they own YouTube. Google owns YouTube, and so Google can read what you have in YouTube and that you've put it on here and on your blog post, and it usually just helps rank your blog post higher. And then the other thing I'd start to read through is, does it answer the question? Does it make you an authority? Is it easy to read? Most people nowadays are on mobile. So if I were doing this for someone that I was working with, I would bring up my phone and I would be searching how this looks on mobile. But it's also important to know how it looks on desktop too, because that's how most of us are writing it. We're not writing it in our phones, we're writing it on our desktops or on our laptops. And so all this is really good. Having different kind of like call outs or different boxes, just like different ways to make people's eyes not just see a wall of text. I love seeing that. So the fact that you're doing that is super important. It's not just wall of text, and doesn't make someone want to click away because they're bored, you know. And so we talk about, so you're interviewing Victoria Farrow, and so you're talking about who she is and how you can work with her. And so then you go into how to choose the perfect wardrobe for your branding photo shoot. I think this is excellent. I think, okay, so a couple things that you're doing really well here is bullet points. So bullet points are extremely important for having people understand what you're talking about and making it easy to read and everything. And so people really like to see bullet points. So that's wonderful. You also give a perfect headline. You say how to choose the perfect wardrobe for your branding photo shoot, which obviously makes everyone understand what exactly you're talking about. And so if I'm looking for the perfect wardrobe, I would say, oh, okay, start with a good foundation, well-fitting undergarments. Pick an outfit that makes you feel empowered. The only thing that I noticed when looking for the topic of what to wear for a branding photo shoot, and this looking for Google is searching like your client, searching like your customer is going to be searching for you. So I typed in what to wear for a branding photo shoot because I would like to know. And so some of the things that came up first of all, they're a year older than you. So you kind of have a one up on them by being a newer and more updated, having a newer and more updated post. But some of the things that I noticed is that when you click on this, for example, she probably made this a header 3. And I think what you have here is a header 2. Okay. And then she took the bullet points kind of that you have, start with a good foundation, and she made them headers.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I noticed that on
like more information underneath.
Yeah, I noticed that on this woman named Jana. She did 1, 2, 3. I know that listicles get a bad name, and we don't want to do listicles all the time because they're kind of a cheap way to get clicks. There's nothing wrong with them if you're doing a listicle, but it's you don't have to do it all the time. But I think one of the things that she did here was 5 tips to something. So pick the perfect outfit is what it says. I don't love the way that she structured her thing, by the way. It says / post, so that's not great. So you could do number 1, start with a good foundation and make that your header 3. And so what you're really doing is understanding why Google is ranking these articles ahead of yours. One, they're older. I mean, the fact that this has been around for a while.
I just published that like 2 days ago. So
yeah, so I'm not saying that you're not ranking and that's because you're doing anything wrong. It's you're brand new. But as you're looking to rank, these are the things that Google is prioritizing. These are what Google is saying that, oh, okay, this is what these people are doing, and people click on it, they stay on it. That's why these articles we think are the best on this topic for what to wear on a branding shoot. And so that's really what I would just change here. I would make these 1, 2, 3, or I would say 5 ways or 7 ways to choose the perfect wardrobe. It's not a listicle. You're still going to keep all of your written content. You're just going to make this a header 3. And make it like number 1. And then you'll, put the paragraph spacing down and you'll say, well-fitting undergarments, and then go from there.
Okay, cool. That's good to know.
Oh, okay. Someone in the comments says that they're having 2 versions made for their website. So.
Oh, one for mobile, one for desktop. Yeah, like most of the templates now, or, will auto create one for the mobile. Okay, here's another one. I would never have thought to use the word brand or branding in looking for a professional photo shoot. What about the use of other words, business professional? So this is one thing I'm running into. Like, people aren't searching for brand or branding photography. So I've been trying to figure out, what else are they searching for? Like photos for my business, or like I originally called myself corporate photography, but I don't think people were searching for that either. They didn't know what it was. So that is a really good point, in finding the right term that people are searching for.
That is a good point. And I like that someone brought this up because that means we can get into more of the intermediate talking about SEO. So here's what I would do in that scenario. I understand I'm not completely familiar with branding photography either. So I would think professional business photography, corporate photography, something like that. And so what you want to do in that case, and this is why it's important to have the blog post, which is what I love. So I'm not sure if you have one already, but I would have a blog post about what is branding photography? Why is it important? What is corporate photography? I would make a couple of different posts using those different words.
Terms. Right.
Yeah, those different keywords. And then here's the second thing that helps you rank your website page, your first page, workstoryphotography.com, is that when you write these blog posts about corporate photography and then have your testimonials talk about what it is. When you write a blog post about professional photography, talk about what it is, have your testimonials, have a video, flesh it out, make sure it's well-written content, at least 800 words, at least, with your videos, with images. Link back every time you say the word, professional photography is also called brand photography. Link brand photography, that keyword, to your homepage.
Okay.
This, by doing, it's called internal linking. And what internal linking does is that it shows Google that you are saying brand photography is what you do. Okay. And every time anyone searches for brand photography, it's going to start showing Google that you say that your website is about brand photography. It's going to start ranking you for brand photography, but because you have those blog posts, you also will rank for professional photography, corporate photography, any other kinds of photographies that you do. So I hope that would answer the question. The other thing that I personally use is this Keywords Explorer. And so when I search for what to wear for branding, what's another, here's one. Well, I don't want to say male, but maybe personal branding photo shoot.
Yeah.
So I would also use Google for that, but I use Keywords Explorer. There's also, I think, keywords everywhere, but this is Keywords Explorer. And this is other keywords that people are using for this. So you may want to include it in your article itself about personal branding photo shoot ideas. These are just more ways that people are searching for and finding personal branding. So there is an element of understanding what people are looking for.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why I think it comes in handy to have multiple blog posts on different topics, because you don't know which one exactly is going to lead someone to you and your website.
Right. Yeah. So what about photos? Like, how important is it to be like properly naming your photos, or even having photos? Like, is a website with no photos going to have a disadvantage over a website with photos? How do the photos come into play with the SEO?
So that's an excellent question. And so in the industry that I work in for my full-time job, I said it was tech and economy. We don't have a lot of photos because, maybe we'll have some for like autonomous vehicles, but the economy, what are you going to do? Show a graph of the stock market? It depends on what your business is. So for Every Day Spokane, I do try to have more photos because I am a travel, and it's really in the travel and lifestyle niches.
Yeah.
So if I just wrote, hey, here's a day trip getaway to Coeur d'Alene, and it's just all words, no one wants that. Yeah. They want to see a video. They want to see photos.
And that's probably going to help with the retention on the page, right? Like if you had no photos about food or traveling, they're probably going to click right off. So that is a good point for the reason for having the visuals.
Exactly. It depends on your audience, and it depends on what your business is. So for local businesses here, or small businesses that have products, absolutely you have to have photos. And so your question about what to name your photos is important. So if you had more photos, so honestly, another way to improve this is to add some of the photos that you've already taken, and put them on here. And then it's called alt text. Now we're getting more into the intermediate parts of SEO, which I'm excited about. It's called alt text. And I think I've seen this in Wix, and I know that WordPress has it for sure. You'll put what it is you're trying to describe. So you would say, this is an example of a branding photo shoot. This woman is wearing pearls. Or because I saw that you put that in there. You said, you said a button-down white shirt. So I would say an example of branding photography with a woman wearing a button-down white shirt with pearls. Because the thing about alt text nowadays too is it's also used for people who are hard of sight. They use it to describe what the image is. So so You want it to make sense for anyone that's having this transcribed, and it's like, oh, okay, this is a photo of a woman wearing pearls. But you also want it to say branding photography or what to wear for your branding photo shoot in there. So it's an example of what to wear for your branding photo shoot, a woman wearing pearls.
Right.
Sounds a little bit long, but it's incredibly important because it's another way for your site to be recognized as this is an article about what to wear for your branding photography photo shoot.
Right. Yeah, no, I've been aware of that too, but I think just going through this can show business owners too, like why it would be a good idea to hire someone to help you with your blog, because it's a lot of work. Like you're not just writing an article, right? You have to make sure you're using the right terms. You have to make sure your images are correct. You're using the right header number thingy. And, choosing images or videos or whatever that are going to make people engage. So yeah, I love that you're going through all of this. It's fantastic.
Okay, good. Yeah, if anyone's overwhelmed, let me know in the comments.
Right.
If you want to get more in depth, feel free to throw me any kind of questions. I think I could handle most of them, given all of the spaces that I've worked in by now. But just to keep going through this, that's an excellent point. I think a lot of people may think, well, first of all, a lot of people get stymied by the fact that just writing is time consuming, and it can be difficult if that's not your expertise. If you're not a writer and you don't enjoy it, it's going to be a chore.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get past that and you say, oh, I like writing, I really like to do this. A friend of mine who I word of mouth SEO helped in the food space, she's an amazing writer. She's really great. But one of the things that she didn't really understand was how to write in a way that gets her found. And so what I did was I took her amazing writing and I added a couple more keywords in there to help her rank and help her be found. And so she went from not ranking at all to, I think she's the #1 search for this particular term that we were trying to rank her for. And her writing was beautiful. I really didn't need to do anything other than change some of her alt tags because she did have a lot of photos, which is great. And then just say, if you're looking for whatever it is that we were looking for, the keyword we were searching for, this is what you need to look out for. These are the things that are the best about this.
Right.
And we just did a little bit more helping readers find it because this is what they were searching for example.
Yeah. And if you don't love writing, I mean, the strategy that I've started using for this is we're doing the live video and then my virtual assistant goes through and takes notes and she's writing it into the blog. I go through and approve it and, add some keywords. And then we're putting it on the blog and then it goes to the email list and it goes on YouTube. So, you could start with a video or you could start with photos or something like that if writing isn't your forte. Or I write blogs for a couple of other businesses, you could hire somebody to do it for you, So I think if it's important to your marketing to have a blog, don't let the fact that you don't want to write it hold you back from doing it. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I have a friend of mine who runs a YouTube channel and then she just has it transcribed and she formats it, puts in her keywords, publishes it, done. And it's just another way for her to be found, for her website to be found, for her YouTube channel to be found, for her Instagram to be found.
Yeah, with those keywords. Yeah, I love it.
Exactly. Yeah, and so let's see. So another thing I wanted to point out here, so this is personal branding photo shoot. So I wanted to get back to what to wear for a branding photo shoot. Doing your own, you can absolutely do this yourself too. If you want to hire it out, you can, but you can also do a lot of this yourself. One of the things that I would consider adding to your article on what to wear for your branding photo shoot is these questions. So people also ask is an incredible free resource. It's what should I wear to a brand photo shoot? I think you already answer that more or less, but I would make it more explicit. I would even have something down here. Maybe instead of Tanya's suggestions, I would say frequently asked questions about the perfect wardrobe, perfect branding photo shoot wardrobe, or something along those lines about what to wear for a branding photo shoot. And I would have the FAQ question, what should I wear to a branding photo shoot? And then you would answer with your own answer. You wouldn't take theirs, obviously.
Oh, sure.
And then you might have a question, how do you prepare for a brand photo shoot? That's an incredible question. I feel like I should have looked that up before we did our Trending Spokane photo shoots. I didn't do it.
That was so last minute. Normally I prepare my clients really well, but that was a last minute photo shoot. For
No,
sure.
yeah, but I mean, if for someone who hasn't decided to work with anyone, and they're like, oh, okay, well, what do I look for a brand photo shoot, and what should I wear, and all of that. So how to prepare, so someone can have a heads up about what to wear.
That could be a total. I think I have a video in there, but I don't know if I titled it that. Like, it's nice to see those questions because that could be the title of a totally new article. Yeah, that's cool.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's just another where, and then this keyword keeps coming up: what to wear for a professional photo shoot, male. You're not doing well. I guess branding photography is also a professional photo shoot. So what should guys wear? What should males wear to a branding photo shoot? So these are just more ideas, and this is all. This Keywords Explorer does cost money, but you can find a lot of this.
Is that like an extension, or what is it? It's like,
it is.
Okay. That's cool. I like it.
Yeah. So it even gives you more long tail keywords, which usually has less search volume, but it's more targeted. So if someone's searching specifically, what's the best thing to wear for a photo shoot? It might not be the thing that everyone's typing in. More people might be typing in what to wear brand photo shoot or something like that. But if someone searches for the best thing to wear for a photo shoot, and you've included that in your article, you'll come to the top for that. So ways to get more traffic. Yeah, and then usually Google puts something at the bottom. So this is the related searches. So you don't necessarily need an extension if you scroll down to. Yeah, this one's really interesting. What to wear for a photo shoot outdoors. So if you're doing outdoor brand photography, which I know you do.
Yeah, we do a lot.
That.
Even when it's cold.
Yes, I know well. And then I mean, those are. And so that's what a good SEO person will do for you. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You don't have to make all these new blog posts. You can if you want to, but if you just wanted to work with someone, an SEO person, and say, hey, these are the articles I have. I'm not writing all these new brand new articles. How can I take my old articles and, help them be seen better?
That's awesome.
Then this is what someone like that should do. And I think one of the things I wanted to get across is that there are a lot of people who say they do SEO, and it's not great. And so I just wanted to show everyone, small businesses, what you should look for when you're hiring someone or doing your own SEO.
Right.
Yeah. It's pretty in depth, but it can be fun.
Yeah.
So.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. Well, that was super helpful. I wrote down some action items to do of how to improve. So
I'm glad this is valuable. Yeah.
So if someone wanted help with this, is that something you're offering to small businesses, or are you too busy with your full-time job and your blog and your podcast?
Yeah, right. Let's just add it. My husband doesn't need to see me ever. I have been doing it. So I've been doing it word of mouth mostly now, just to see how it ranks in kind of the lifestyle and local small business areas. And it's been doing really well. So I am starting to branch out, and I am available to be hired. Actually, one of the things I'm hoping that maybe I could put it in the comments after we wrap up.
Sure.
I wanted to put a link just to learn more about what people are looking for. I think one of the things that, I'm wondering if people want the full service or if they would rather do this themselves. And I can put together a small guide for people.
Right.
This is how you can just do it yourself.
Yeah. Maybe.
So I'll put that link in the comments.
I would do both, but for, advising you, like, create both options, but it would be interesting to see what people say for where to start. So we can put that in the comments afterwards, or I think you can can I type it now? I think you can type it in right now. See if you can.
I don't have the comments section.
Oh, you don't?
On my StreamYard, I can leave it in the comments right now.
Yeah, we can put it in after. And it's streaming in several places, so I can go ahead. I can go back and edit, and we'll put it in the blog too, because this is going to go on my blog. So, so how?
Make sure you have some headers when we do it.
How would people reach you if they were interested in more information?
Absolutely. So info@everydayspokane.com is the best way to get in touch.
I'll type that in the comments right now. Info@Everyday Spokane.
Yeah, and if people have more questions too, they can feel free to put those in the comments, and I'll come back and answer questions in the comments. I know not everyone could attend right now.
Yeah, I usually get people watch the replay, and then this afternoon time, like, I've been kind of experimenting with what's the best time to do these live videos, and it seems like the 11 o'clock a.m. like 10:30, 11 is more well attended. So this 1:30 afternoon, I don't know if people like are still eating lunch or just getting work done or have kids at home or I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not as popular of a time. But anyway, let's see. If you want,
that's what replays are for.
Yeah, let's see. Are you done sharing the screen?
Oh, sure. Yeah, here, I can stop sharing.
Okay, perfect. All right. Okay, Tessa says, I would love to know how to do it myself. So there's some feedback from one person in the audience. And yeah, I feel like I know a lot about it because I was a paid writer for a blog, a WordPress blog for a long time, and they taught us, they were like, this is what you have to put in these header things, and you have to put the keywords in, and these are the keywords we want you to use. So, but not, I don't think most people know what they need to be doing. And like you said, even if they're a good writer, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to get found. So I think a little course or a guide or something for people would be super helpful for you to put together. So
yeah, that's what I thought too, but I just kind of wanted that feedback before I did invest a lot of time in it. Like you said, I don't want to do something and everyone's like, no, we don't want that.
Yeah, you gotta do that market research, and it'd be good to hear in their words too, like why do they want help with this? So you could use that in your marketing and stuff. So anyway.
Well, I'm looking forward to more comments and questions. Like I said to you before we even got started with this, I was like, well, I don't really know if this should be like a 101 type of SEO thing or if this should be more in depth. But it sounds like people, we can go past 101. So if people have more questions, definitely let me know. I'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thanks for coming today. And let's see, one last thing. I just wanted to ask you about your experience being photographed by me, I guess. Like it was different than my typical session. Like usually we would have some preparation and stuff, but it was just a quick, like I've photographed Erin before and it was just kind of like, hey, can you come on Monday? Because we had an opportunity to use the carousel, which was like super rare. And
very rare.
It was last minute, I usually don't do super last minute stuff, but and I hadn't really met you in person much before that either, so it was kind of interesting to photograph someone I didn't know very well, but you guys were super fun. So I would just love your feedback, I guess, or tell people, what was it like to be photographed by Work Story?
It was so awesome. Yeah, I hadn't really met you before. I think there had been meetups that were scheduled, but then 2020
right.
So
we've met in passing a couple times, but never really.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So getting to meet you really, more in person for the first time was incredible. And I just loved how you were able to do things. I feel like when I've had photo shoots done before in the past, I get really nervous and I feel like they're right there, like watching you and snapping you and everything. But you were just so natural. I didn't even know where you were half the time because in the best sense, I was able to be really natural and comfortable, and that came through in the photos that you showed us. I didn't even know that you got most of those, and it was the authentic smile, the authentic me, which is really helpful for my business because these are very authentic conversations that I'm having with my audience. And so I didn't want the whole here's like oh my face is so tired from smiling. You got us from so many different angles and doing different things, and you were a real trooper with how cold it was and how I kept running back to my coat. So you made sure to get it. You made sure to get me without my coat, which is really great during like the cold and everything. But the way that you were just able to set everything up and just make it a really low pressure situation for someone like me who's a little bit more nervous in front of the camera. It was really wonderful. And like I said, I didn't even know where you were sometimes. And you got these incredible photos that, I didn't know you were taking.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. I couldn't really tell you were nervous. So I guess maybe, I get that feedback a lot that I am able to put people at ease and they feel comfortable. And even though they go in feeling nervous or hating getting their picture taken or whatever. So, but we were at the carousel too. So, how can you not have fun on the carousel?
That's true. I feel there'd be some ways that like somebody could make it a less pleasant experience, even the carousel. But you made it incredibly fun. It was just effortless. The way that you did it just seemed like, we'd been friends for years. We've been working together forever. It was a really, really great experience. I would work with you again 100 times in the future.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me out, and I'm excited to see them in use to promote your podcast and to hear more episodes from that. And yeah, if anyone else has questions, post them here in the comments, and Melissa and I will be kind of paying attention over the next day or so and answering comments. And thanks so much for coming on. This was super helpful, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you create for people to learn more about SEO.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Jamie.
Yeah. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.